FPV goggles with focus adjustment will cost you about £500 to £600, so you probably won't want to buy more than one set. The question is, which should you choose? This video will show you what you see in the goggles of some different types and hopefully let you make a choice. I apologise for the quality of the sound in this video, but I've never been very good at voiceovers. For this video I'm going to fly 3 different drones, one with analogue and 2 with digital FPV, and record what you see in the goggles so that hopefully on the video you can choose which video system suits you best. The intention is to fly the 3 models very quickly one after the other so the lighting and the weather stays the same. These are the 3 drones I'm going to demonstrate. On the left is a GepRC Cinelog25, which is an analogue system, and it's using the Fatshark analogue goggles. In the centre is a Flywoo Flylens85, which is a digital FPV using the Walksnail Avata goggles, and on the right is the DJI Avata FPV drone, which uses the DJI goggles too. The first thing to consider is what you want to do with your FPV system. If all you want to do is fly around, look at the superb scenery, take fantastic photos, and if you've got enough money, just buy the DJI Avata. It's a great device for doing that. The downside is the way it flies. If you let go of the control sticks, it stops instantly and stays where it was in the air, which is ideal for the general public, but as a modeler you might find it a little bit dull. It's a bit like flying a modern airliner using the autopilot. If you move the stick or adjust the knob, the thing will change heading or change height, but it's not an engaging flight experience. Other drawbacks with the DJI are that the parts are expensive. It's £109 for a spare LiPo compared with £16 on the other 2 drones. You can't repair the thing yourself, so you'd have to send it back to DJI if you break something. And if you use the DJI FPV system in another model, such as a different drone or maybe a fixed wing model, there's a lot of limitations in what you can do with the FPV and the on-screen display. You don't get that with the Walksnail or the analogue. With the Walksnail system, you can buy a replacement camera and VTX for about £95 for this particular model I'm flying. If you want FPV to put into a fixed wing, the units could cost you between £95 to £150. If you choose the analogue system, the Fatshark and the drone on the left, cameras are anywhere between £15 and £35, VTX from 10 to 40, so if you want to put them into a fixed wing plane, it's by far the cheapest option. The last thing I want to talk about before we get on to the flight videos is the durability of the systems. I already mentioned that you can't really repair the DJI Avata by yourself, but the other 2 systems, the Fatshark and the Walksnail, you could work on them if you wanted to. Unfortunately, when you're flying any model, accidents can happen. I've lost count of the number of times I've crashed my drone into a course marker pole and cartwheeled into the grass, but normally you pick it up and it carries on flying. I've even crashed from 100 feet when I was practicing rolls. Again, no damage. So overall, drones are very durable. I should point out that there is a 4th FPV system available, HD02, but unfortunately I don't own it, I don't know anything about it, so I can't tell you how robust it is, how easy it is to repair. All I can say is that looking at videos on YouTube, the video quality lies between that of analogue and the Walksnail. This photo compares an analogue system on the left with a digital FPV system on the right. As you can see, the analogue system uses wires the same size as on a normal servo, so it's easy to work on. On the right is a digital camera and VTX, and you can see the very fine wires connecting the 2 together. I wouldn't like to try and unplug those or repair them, and the other point to consider is that digital VTX has to do an awful lot of work to compress the video down for transmission and then work the transmitter. It runs very hot, too hot to touch, and if you leave the thing switched on without a cooling airflow, it will overheat, shut down, or maybe even get damaged. Anyway, enough of this chat, let's get on to the flying. But before I do, I'd like to point out that I'm not a drone racer. My reaction times are just too slow for that, so the flying in these videos may look slow to you, but to me it's great fun. So let's start with the DJI Avata and its digital FPV system. This is exactly what you'll see in the goggles when you're flying. The numbers across the bottom of the screen are decided by DJI. You can't adjust or change that. Now we're climbing away, heading north. I'm going to climb up so I can see the horizon. If you look near the bottom left, you'll see the height increasing through 70 odd feet at the moment, heading up to about 100 feet above the field. Then we're going to turn to the west, and once the turned round, head south again down the strip, we start to descend back down to where there's a little FPV course I've set out on the strip. See, it's quite a steady rate of descent. Then we turn back round towards the course. You've suddenly got numbers turning up in red near the centre of the bottom screen. That's giving you the height above the ground, and it's warning me red that I'm flying too low. But to get around these course markers, which are only 5 feet high, you've got to be down low. So here comes the first gate, which is a limbo gate. Then we go up, turn round to the left and start a slalom section. Again, we're just over 2 feet above the ground at the moment. Then we turn to the right, go up to this gate for a U-turn and come back down. And then back to the start gate. So that was 32 seconds for that lap. We're now accelerating to top speed, which is close to 30 miles an hour in this mode on the Avata, just for a low flight round the field flat out. Now we turn back towards the pits and the drone pad for a landing. You may have noticed a letter H near the middle of the screen. That's showing you the way back to the home point in case you happen to get lost. And at the bottom left and right you can now see part of the drone appearing in the image. That's because you can adjust the camera to look straight down if you want with the control on the transmitter. Give you a better view of the drone mat for landing. And once you're over the mat, you move the throttle to 0, that enters auto land mode, and it lands. Now for the Flywoo Flylens85 with the Walksnail digital FPV system. The first thing to note is that the recording in the goggles doesn't record the on-screen display, and if you want that, you're going to have to do some work to post-process it. If you look at the contents of the SD card from the goggles, you'll find there's 3 files. One's the video and the others contain the text. If you want the OSD information on the screen, you can use this free program from the internet, download it, then run it, and copy in the video files, and it'll put the OSD on the screen. And thanks to Lee from Painted360 YouTube channel, who explained about it and very quickly answered a question I had when I was trying to use it. So here's the combined video, and if you look near the bottom left of the screen, you can see the current, which was about 2 amps even when the motors weren't running. That's what's heating up the VTX. Now taken off, climbing back up to about 100 feet. You can get the same view as we had with the Avata. Then turn round via the west and then head south. We start descending, coming down quite a bit faster than the Avata would. Start to turn back, ready for the course. You can see the flying current is now around about 8 amps. we go into the start of the course, if you look at the video quality, there's nothing really to choose between this system and the DJI, which isn't surprising because they're made by the same people. It was a little bit slow around that corner, lost a bit of time there. That's it, that's a 35-second lap, so slightly slower than with the Avata. Now up to speed for a quick trip round the strip. What you will notice is the camera angle is fixed. It's tipped up, so when you're flying at speed, you're looking level. But when you come into land, you tend to be looking up at the sky. Makes it much harder to see where the drone pad is. Now for the GepRC with the Fatshark analogue FPV. And you'll immediately notice that the video quality isn't as good. But honestly, I don't think it matters. I'm not looking at the scenery, I'm looking where I'm going, where the course markers are, etc. Now a much faster way down, nice slow barrel rolls, lost a lot of height. Coming round for the start of the course. So this thing's drawing about 5 to 6 amps in level flight. Start round the course, again just skimming the ground, but see, all I'm looking for is where is the ground, where are the course markers. I don't care about looking for the daisies in the strip. This system is a lot more robust than the digital systems. If I crash, I don't care. It's easy to repair, cheaper to repair. That was a 27-second lap, so considerably faster. Now speed up. Get low battery warning because I'm pulling about 20 amps out the battery. Now come back to the drone pad to end the flight. Now a point worth mentioning is what happens if the video transmitter overheats or if you fly too far away and lose signal. On the digital systems, it just shows you the last image it received. And this picture is taken on the drone pad. Everything looks great for a takeoff, but in practice the VTX had overheated. This was just the last image it was displaying. I took off, the image didn't change and I crashed. Hard job then ensued looking for the drone in the long grass. If you're flying with an analogue FPV system, as you get further away, the signal starts to lose its strength and you get these little spots appearing on the screen. It's like the static used to be on a 405 line television set. And as the things get worse, the picture slowly degrades, but you've got plenty of time to notice, turn round and come back without crashing. So my recommendations, if you want to just look at the scenery, take fantastic photos, go with DJI Avata or similar. If you just want to have a lot of fun and fly around, go with analogue. It's cheap, it's good enough to see where you're going, it's nice and robust. But if you must have a digital system, then I'd go for the Walksnail. Finally, if you want to know more about FPV in general, there will shortly be a document placed on the Autumn Model Flying Club's website which details what I've covered here, adds in all the pros and cons, the cost, the suppliers, etc., which you may find useful.